This is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at McFarlane's DC Multiverse DC vs. Vampires Vampire Shazam. This is a gold label Walmart exclusive, and I want to give a huge shout out to my boy, the real Lenny, for sending this over to me. He's one of my subscribers. He saw my video that I got Max Mercury and was still looking for Vampire Shazam. He messaged me and said, I have one for you if you're interested. And honestly, at first I said, no, I'm good. There are plenty of Vampire Nightwings and Wally West out here, so I'm sure I'll see this guy in large numbers. But after hitting Walmart's for 4, 5, 6 days, just wasn't showing up. So I hit him up, said, what's up with Vampire Shazam? He said, I still have it. Mailed it out to me the next day. Much appreciated. I love when the toy community shows you love. Can be very cool. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus. This is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label's figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be GameStop or Target, this particular Gold Label is a Walmart exclusive. The entire DC vs. Vampires line is. DC Multiverse, Shazam. Here he is in the package. We have a total of 4 hands, collector's card, and display stand. One side of the package, Shazam from DC vs. Vampires. Other side, Shazam. At the bottom, there's his barcode, if that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Vampire Shazam posed up, looking pretty creepy. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Here's a look at my entire DC vs. Vampires comic collection. I have the main series, issues 1 through 12, and the cover variants. And then the Crypt editions, and then the spin-off series, All Out War, and then the one-off Vampire Hunters. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He doesn't come with much. Just 2 alternate hands, also a display stand and a collector's card. No energy effects, and that's a little bit surprising. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Vampire Shazam from DC vs. Vampires. It's Billy Batson, but he's been turned into a vampire. I can only imagine how powerful and terrifying that could be. It's a Walmart exclusive. All the DC vs. Vampires figures are Walmart exclusives so far, and I can't wait to see what's next. In the meantime, let's take a look at this guy. Now, starting with his face here, it looks fantastic. He's got the pointed ears, sort of vampire-ish, fangs, looks like a little bit of blood coming out of his mouth, red eyes. It looks great. They've done an excellent job on all of the DC vs. Vampires head sculpts. They look fantastic. You can see he's kind of got a shaved head, hair at the top going to the side. His cape is a little bit tattered, kind of ripped apart. He's got blood on his lightning bolt, the Shazam symbol. Nice texturing on the suit. Blood all over one of the hands. He has sort of claw-like hands. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed knees. As a whole, it's a pretty good looking figure and a great addition to the DC vs. Vampires collection. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Looks good. Looks creepy. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen a million times before. It's very thin, very basic, yet effective at the same time. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the Vampire Shazam. He's using his lightning, his energy. That's why I'm kind of surprised the figure didn't come with any energy bolts like that. Shazam from DC vs. Vampires. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Now let's check out his hands. He has a total of 4 of them. 2 right hands and 2 left hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his alternate hands. These look to be some clawing or grabbing hands. Now I wanted to check out the differences in reuse between this Vampire Shazam and the DC Rebirth Shazam. So let's take a look. Starting with their heads here, of course, the heads are completely different. The torso looks to be the same, as well as the stomach. Now this guy has this extra piece sort of attached on top of the torso, but you can see the textured part underneath. They just added this little thing on top. The arms are exactly the same. You can see the texturing, and they have this little non-textured stripe going down. Arms are exactly the same all the way until the hands, which are a little bit different. The diaper piece looks to be the same. And the legs look to be the same. Once again, they have that little non-textured part going up and down. The boots and the feet are the same. Of course, the capes are considerably different. So these are 100% the same figure, except for the head, the little extra part attached to the torso, the capes, and the hand. And of course, the paint job. Here are the 4 McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize that same body, which debuted with the infected Shazam. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at probably about 7.1 inches tall, but if you go at the top of the hair, about 7.3 inches tall, which can translate to 18.5 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that much. He can tilt his head from one side to the other. His head and neck are 2 separate pieces, and then his neck and body are also separate pieces. Shoulders on a ball joint goes about 90 degrees, up, down, around. He does have that butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering up the gap that would be there. Bicep cut, but it barely moves at all. Double jointed elbows, they go in about that far. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged. In his torso, he has a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion. Legs complete as a splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. They go forward about this far. A little bit more if you go to the side. Double jointed knees. And then his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock. And of course, to articulation. Now let's switch to a church type setting for the rest of this video. Here's a look at Vampire Shazam waking up, getting out of his coffin. And a closer look at Shazam. He's hungry, coming right toward you. Here's a whole gang of Vampire DC figures, all living together in this abandoned church. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Shazam figures. Here he is, next to the DC Rebirth Shazam. This is the best Shazam figure that McFarlane has done, and this one was also a Walmart exclusive. And here he is, next to McFarlane's movie version of Shazam. Then, next to McFarlane's first Shazam figure, this is the infected Shazam. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Shazam figures. The next one to come out is an Amazon exclusive 2-pack from the movie Shazam and Freddie Freeman. And now, next to a Mattel DC Multiverse movie Shazam. So here are all the different Shazam figures that I have. 4 from McFarlane, 1 from Mattel. And now, with some McFarlane Black Adam figures. Black Adam has the pretty much exact same powers as Shazam, and usually he's an evil version of Shazam. Here he is, next to the Endless Winter Black Adam. And here he is, next to the Page Puncher Black Adam figures. Then, next to the movie Dwayne Johnson Black Adam figures. One with the hood up, one with the hood down, and then the one that came with a throne. Now let's check him out, next to some other McFarlane DC vs. Vampires figures. Here he is, next to the Bat Family Vampires, Batman, Nightwing, and Robin. And here, next to a couple more Vampire Justice League heroes, Superman, and Hal Jordan. Then, next to the Vampire Joker, this is the only DC villain that they've made vampire figure out of, although I guess they're sort of all villains at this point. Here's the entire McFarlane DC vs. Vampires collection. We have a total of 7 of them so far. They're all pretty good figures. I'd say Damien is probably my least favorite, and either Nightwing or Joker is probably my favorite. I'm not sure who's next. I don't recall seeing anything on the leaked lists. I would love to see Wonder Woman and Batwoman. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the other Walmart exclusive figure in his wave. We have Vampire Shazam and Max Mercury. Here's Shazam, next to the Batman Forever wave. Val Kilmer Batman, Chris O'Donnell Robin, Jim Carrey Riddler, and Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, collect to build the Nightmare Bat. And here he is, next to the most recent Batman wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Batman Reborn Dick Grayson Batman, the Adam West Batman, and the world's finest fusion Batman Superman. Then, next to the most recent Platinum wave, Bullseye Batman, Hugo Strange's Batman, the Flash movie Batfleck, and Batman Begins Lucius Fox. And now, with the Collector's Edition Wave 6, Clock King, Red Hood, Ragman, and Agent Liberty. There's a Platinum Chase variant of each of these 4 figures. I'm on the hunt for Clock King and Ragman. If anybody has a lead or where I'm able to get one for a reasonable price, or can help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. Here's Shazam, next to the DC Classics Darkseid Mega figure. And here he is, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Patina variant of the Dark Knight Returns Armored Batman, and the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Superman Centennial Park tribute statue. Then, with the DC Rebirth Tim Drake Robin, and the regular and platinum versions of the Cyborg Superman, here he is, with the previous Platinum Wave, Sportsmaster, New 52 Reverse Flash, and Manhunter. And finally, with the second digital wave, Green Arrow, Superman, and the Atom. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which ones you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's Shazam, next to a bag of cat treats, and a metal magnetic spider. Once again, huge shout out to my boy, the real Lenny, for hooking me up with his Vampire Shazam. He got it much earlier than my area got it. And when I received the package, to my surprise, there was a bag of cat treats and a little metallic spider. He told me that he saw me do some comparisons with some vehicles of my cats, so he wanted to hook him up with some cat treats. And then his mom makes these little metal spiders. It has a magnet in it. I hooked it up to the side of a lamp and freaked out both my wife and son. So, pretty cool. Feeling the love, wasn't expecting these things, and always appreciate. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Vampire Shazam figure. It does a lot of reuse, but it's not even really noticeable, and it doesn't bother me at all. His face looks great. The accessories are pretty much non-existent. Skeletal paint job, good. Accessories, very much on the weak side. And articulation, it's good, but it's on a pretty old body that is probably 4 years old at this point. So, they've made some improvements, and this one is lacking in that area. If I were to rate this guy, probably going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. The body's a little bit dated, lack of accessories, and personally, I really don't like his hair. It looks good for what it is, just not a fan of the way it looks, the shaved head on the side, etc., etc. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.